When I was 23 years old, I hit the closest thing to rock bottom that I had ever faced. Now, at the time, I just finished university. I was a young, ambitious entrepreneur just trying to figure out my way, and I truly felt like I was destined for more. I felt like I was supposed to be more. So, me being foolishly excited, I decided to go and rent an office in downtown Toronto. And I said to myself, you know what? We're gonna fill this place out with clients. We're gonna make a really successful business. We're gonna go and do all these great things. 6 months later, I end up getting evicted from that same office. And I'll never forget that day. I actually was renting the office with a friend of mine, and he called me and he said, Sarim, the landlord is on her way right now. You need to get out of the office right now or else we're gonna get sued. And I'll never forget packing my bags. It was a cold February day. And if you're from the Northern Hemisphere, if you're from like that northern area where I'm from, which is Toronto, you can understand how cold it gets. Anyways, during that time, I ended up packing all my stuff and I put it in the back of an Uber. And I was so broke at the time that I didn't even know if my credit card could cover the payment to get the Uber to my brother's apartment, which is where I was staying. And I remember, thankfully it did. And I packed all my stuff. It was a cold February day and I ended up leaving the office. And I'll never forget that I was so sad that I called my father that same day after I had packaged all that stuff up, put it back in my brother's apartment. And I remember just calling my dad and I said to him, I was crying on the phone and I said, Dad, like, I don't know if I can be an entrepreneur. Like, I don't know if this life is for me. And he said to me, he said, Sarim, just trust the process. Trust that this is all made to make you something better. So I did. And I'll never forget that after that, I put my head down and I finally decided I'm gonna change the way I was doing everything. So 6 months later, after that whole fiasco, I ended up making my first $10,000 month. And from that point onwards, I knew I was free. I knew that I could achieve anything I wanted to do, and I knew that I've built myself up to a level that allows me to always have financial freedom. And in this video, I'm actually going to teach you exactly how I did it and how you can do the same for your life. So when I did get evicted, right, the very first thing I did after all the crying and figuring things out and, you know, trying to get my life together, I sat down and I started to analyze my skill sets. I started to look at, okay, what do I have and what do I need to really get myself to where I want to go? So I realized, okay, I'm really good at public speaking. I could speak really well, which means I can sell decently well, which was good. And I had a little bit of skill in video editing, not much. I just knew very basic stuff. So I told myself, okay, well, if I can get better at video editing, well, that means something. I could probably make something out of that. So that same week, I ended up buying a course on Udemy. It was a $15 course, literally $15, nothing expensive, right? It was on how to use Premiere Pro, how to edit videos. So I started learning how to edit videos like at a much higher level. And immediately I was like, wow, I've already in just a couple weeks developed a skill set that puts me at a way higher rate than I wasn't at before. So after I got really good, or decently good rather, with Premiere Pro, I started making calls. I started advertising saying, hey, if you need social media videos edited, let me know. So at the time I was advertising by making calls and also using LinkedIn. I loved using LinkedIn because it was the social media platform where all the rich people were, right? It was professionals who really didn't have time to do social media, but knew they needed to do it. So I started advertising on LinkedIn a lot, saying, hey, if you need videos made, I can go and do it for you. And I'll never forget, somebody actually, after a couple weeks of advertising, reached out to me and said, yeah, what's your prices? I'll do it. And at the time I was so nervous, I didn't even know what price to say. So I said, yeah, $200 and I'll edit the video for you. He said, done, no problem. Cool. So he ended up being my first client. And it was really awesome because it started to become a chain reaction after that. And I started to get more and more clients. And that's what I'm saying to you, right? You have to assess the skill sets you have and the skill sets you don't have, right? Because you can immediately figure out and say, if I'm really good at public speaking and I have a little bit of skill in video editing, well, if I got a little bit better in video editing, I could probably sell myself using that service, right? I could sell my services by doing that. And that's exactly what I did. And then it led to the next thing, which is once you've actually assessed your skill set, you want to go out and advertise to the market. It's very important that you know how to advertise yourself, right? Go and use social media. You don't need to pay for ads. You don't need to do any of that. You can just post content, post statuses. I recommend to use LinkedIn because because I'm telling you, it's literally a secret hack. Everybody in the professional world is on LinkedIn, and a lot of them are looking for services and they have money. So it's one of the easiest markets to go break into to get clients for yourself. So I went in, did that on LinkedIn, and that was the work, right? So once I figured out where I was, what skills I had, what skills I needed, I went into a learning phase. It was not a long learning phase, just a couple of weeks where I started to get better at video editing, done that, and then I went into the advertising phase. And that is exactly what you got to do too, right? Put yourself in that advertising phase and get clients quickly. Trust me, fast money is actually good money. Now, I'm not talking about get rich quick. I'm talking about you don't need to spend, months and years perfecting a skill before you bring it to the market. You don't need to do that. All you need to do is have a decent skill set at something that someone else wouldn't have. So let's say, for example, a lot of the clients I was working with at the time were financial planners. They were too busy doing financial planning services. They didn't know how to do social media or create content or anything like that. So I went and advertised to financial planners, boom, got their service, got their business, started making videos for them, and then boom, and the money started rolling. I started running a business again, and things started working out really, really well. And that actually leads to the second thing, which is once you actually start making money, then you want to start looking into how can you make more, right? It was great that I was making a little bit here and there, and I was finally able to, clear my debt, figure myself out, get better, all of that. That was great, but I knew that wasn't going to be the end result. So I needed to figure out a way of how was I going to really turn this into a business where I can make thousands. I'm talking about $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month, all of that. So I started to realize that, hey, look, I was creating all this content for all those different people, but I noticed they were not posting the content. And I asked them, I would say, hey, I've created 4 videos for you over the last couple months. You haven't posted any. And they said, sorry, you know what? You're so right. It's just that I don't have the time to publish the content, to market it. So that's why I just haven't had the time. So I said, okay, well, this is another opportunity. It's a problem. They don't have the time. So then I turned this into a full-fledged marketing agency where I said, I'll create the content for you. I'll publish the content. I'll even go out and find your buyers and set up sales calls with your buyers so that you can get more clients. Now, all of a sudden, my service became irresistible. They couldn't live without me. They needed me. They needed me to create the content. They needed me to publish it. They needed me to go find their buyers. They needed me to do every little part of the business for them, and they just were serving their clients. So I ended up growing this business really quickly after that. And then, the $10,000 months started coming. It was not a very difficult thing for it to happen. And then once that started happening, then I really started to achieve that level of freedom. And that's what I'm telling you. You got to find it's very simple, the formula, right? Assess what skills you have, assess what skills you need, go and find a problem in the market, not something that you think is cool, something that is a problem. And here's a tip. Make sure that you find a problem that people will pay good money for, right? Don't solve a problem that's like a $5 problem. Go and solve a problem so I'm not saying you need to be editing videos like I did, but go and find a problem that's like a $100 problem, $200 problem, or even a $1,000 problem, right? The more the better, and go and solve that problem, right? Because it's the same amount of effort to market a $5 service than it is to market a $1,000 service. So go and market. And then once you start marketing, get clients. Now you got to do a really good job. Once you get the clients, do a really good job. Now that's going to bring you money. That's going to get you out of being broke. You won't be broke anymore once you start doing this, but you can't be satisfied. Do not get satiated. Once you have that, then you work on scaling. And once you scale, that's when the big money comes. That's when you can start enjoying the financial freedom. I'm telling you, most people, after they get themselves out of the broke phase and they start having a little bit of money, they calm down, they relax, they think life's easy, and then they get stuck in that phase. Do not be satisfied in that phase. It's just one step on your journey to financial freedom. So go and follow this advice, apply it to your life. This is exactly what I did, right? I'm filming this video for you. I'm 29 years old. It's been 6 years since that fiasco. And now I'm here filming this video for you in my apartment here. I'm living in Medellin, Colombia. I left Toronto. I'm traveling all over the world. I'm doing all of these things while filming this video. And I'm telling you that it was this journey that I went on that allowed me to get to this point. So I'm telling you, go and do the same. You don't have to be broke forever. I once read a quote that said, being broke is a temporary state that you might be in, but being poor is a mindset that you can get stuck in. So don't worry if you're broke on paper right now. If you have a rich mindset, that will change. That will change quicker than you can imagine. Just do not let a poor mindset come into you, right? If you can maintain an abundant mindset, the rest will take care of itself. Don't worry about being broke. That will finish. That phase will pass, but you need to stay rich in here. That's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.